Alright, welcome everybody to a very special BDA transmission. This is Mr. BDA with you as always, and with me my co-host King Bucho. King, how are you?
I'm doing great.
Alright, so just get our quick predictions in for the Wilder-Ortiz fight that's going to be taking place this Saturday on Showtime. You know, it's a very interesting fight. It's been gaining a lot of attention from a lot of different people, obviously, and I'm more excited for this one than I am for Joshua Parker, because I just think these Wilder and Ortiz are two big punchers. And I think they're gonna make. There's some potential for a big explosion in that fight, a big, explosive fight, fun fight. Whereas Joshua Parker, I think it's gonna be more of a one-sided affair. What do you think?
I agree that on paper it looks like Wilder Ortiz is a closer fight. Yeah, I agree with you. I think we're gonna touch on that point later on about how people are jumping ship and going towards Wilder now as a favorite. Well, clear favorite.
Let's stop pussyfooting around the issue then. Let's go for predictions right away. I'm predicting Wilder. I think it's going to be one of those stoppages where neither guy is going to do all that much. Both guys are going to be very reluctant. It's going to look a lot like the Wilder-Gerald Washington fight, because I think Ortiz is going to be, again, like I've said in the film analysis, and you said it as well, he's very reluctant when he has to come forward. Ortiz, he's a natural counterpuncher, and I think the speed of Wilder is going to throw him off. I think it's going to be a uneventful fight, and then at some point he's going to get caught with something. He's going to wobble, but he's not going to go down, and the referee is going to step in and he's going to stop the fight. And I think it might be very dissatisfying or unfulfilling for a lot of people that stop. That's what I'm predicting. What are you?
Well, we know that the judges are gonna be on Wilder's side. He's the A side. He's a moneymaker in terms, because if Wilder fights Joshua, that's a mega fight. So there's a lot of money involved in that. So Wilder has to win. Ortiz is 38, but in reality he's probably in his mid-40s. There's not a lot of value in him. So yeah, I'm sure that if Ortiz gets wobbled, the referee is gonna immediately jump in and try to stop the fight. I agree with the way you describe how the fight is gonna transpire. I've been watching your videos as you've been making the analysis videos, and man, Ortiz actually, he's very slow. We all got hyped up on Ortiz after that Jennings fight, but since then he hasn't done anything in like 3 years.
I think it's something like that. Close to 3 years, yeah.
Close to 3 years. So I don't know. Now I am jumping ship now and going towards Wilder. I just think he is bigger, longer arms. He's fresher. He's younger. Ortiz just looks slow. He's gonna try to counterpunch. He's a counterpuncher, but in this fight he's gonna actually be going forward, because I think Wilder is gonna be backing up and making a sort of an ugly fight in terms of, because I see Wilder backing up and then throwing that lazy ass fucking jab and then throwing that over right, trying to catch Ortiz coming in, and when Wilder's gonna be on the ropes, he's gonna immediately grab Ortiz, make it ugly, wait for the ref to come in and separate them, and then eventually in the later rounds, maybe round 10, I think Wilder's gonna land a big right and he's gonna stagger Ortiz, and like you said, the referee is just gonna jump in and stop it.
Again, that's a very specific prediction we're making. Very high chance that it's not gonna go that way. Specifically that way, but I'm pretty sure it's gonna end up with Wilder winning. Now that's an interesting thing, because if you would have asked most people last year who would have won between Ortiz and Wilder, most people would have said Ortiz wipes the floor with him. Now that it's finally made, all of a sudden everybody's they're changing their mind. Part of that is because they've realized that Ortiz might just be older than we've been told, or that he's slower. He's been looking slower and slower these past few years, and also it's not helping that, I don't know, we talked about it on the podcast last night. People were mentioning he's got a huge bump on his hand, and I saw that video finally. It sort of looks like a tumor on his hand. Something's going on. I don't know, did he get the casino treatment and they beat him up with a hammer and told him, hey, listen, you better lose this fight, motherfucker? What's going on here?
Listen, like I said, I wouldn't be surprised. Wilder has to win this fight. There's a lot of money involved in a Wilder-Joshua fight, so anything's possible, man.
By the way, I'm not obviously suggesting that he was coerced or that he's been physically threatened to throw the fight, but I'm just saying, regardless of what that thing is, it just looks weird. Now people are talking about hand injuries, so if Wilder beats him, there's going to be a lot of people out there saying, well, Ortiz had a hand injury, he's old, blah, blah, blah. The excuses are going to be coming out. Let's just stick to the issue.
Yeah.
Ortiz is a good fighter, and if Wilder beats him, let's give him his credit, man. I mean, the guy deserves the credit if he does beat him in impressive fashion.
No, I agree. Wilder should get some credit for beating Ortiz, but I just want to go back to the point that we were talking about regarding people jumping ship and maybe being hypocritical now that the fight is taking place. Hypocritical because a lot of people were saying that we're picking Ortiz as the winner in this fight. But I'm looking here at BoxRec and I see Luis Ortiz fought Brian Jennings.
By the way, did you say boxing scene or BoxRec?
BoxRec, sorry. In 2015. December 2015. It's almost, let's say 2 years since that fight. A lot of things have happened since then. 2 years. And Tony Thompson, he KOs Tony Thompson in 6 rounds. Okay, then Malik Scott. That Malik Scott fight showed us what Luis Ortiz is in reality, maybe. I mean, he's slow, he looks old. His timing was way off. He wasn't impressive at all. So, are we allowed to change our minds after during these last 2 years? I think it's fair.
That's a good point.
You know, I'm not being hypocritical, saying like, oh, now you're changing your mind because the fight's taking place, and now you're gonna be wrong because you you were saying that Ortiz was gonna beat Wilder. Yeah, I was saying that 2 years ago. Now, in these past 2 years, I see an Ortiz that is getting older and slower.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't think it's hypocritical at all.
Very good point, King Bucho. Very good point. People are allowed to change their minds, especially based off of the evidence that we have, video evidence of Ortiz looking slower.
Oh, and by the way, I don't care if Ortiz is in shape because I've been watching a lot of these videos where you see Ortiz, he's leaner, he's in the best shape of his life. Doesn't matter, man. He's still in his mid-40s. Okay, well, let's say he's 38, but still, he looks old. That doesn't erase erase
the fact that he's slow.
Yeah, and that he hasn't looked that impressive in his last few fights. I mean, I don't want to count the David Allen fight. The hell is this guy 9-1, a record of 9-1-1. I mean,
that's his last fight, or?
No, his last fight is Daniel Martz.
Oh yeah, the giant guy there. Yeah.
KO in 2 rounds. But
it's easy to look sharp against. I mean, sharp. Even then, people thought he looked slow. That's the thing about Ortiz. You're never gonna confuse him with Muhammad Ali. That being said, he can still pack a punch, and I think that's really his only chance here. And it's never a good thing when you say, well, this guy at least has a puncher's chance. That's another way of saying he really doesn't have a chance, that much of a chance. Now let's talk about, on the other hand, it's kind of hard to root against Ortiz, even though he has been caught with PEDs in his system. The guy's a family man. He has a daughter that's disabled, or was disabled when she was born, and he made a lot of sacrifices to get her the proper medical treatment she needed, and also to make it here to North America, in the United States. And Wilder, on the other hand, I also respect him because, again, he too has a daughter that's disabled, and so he's fighting not only for himself, but he's fighting for his family. And one of the things I respect about Wilder is the fact, and I've said this before in the podcast, is people keep saying he sucks, people keep saying he has no chin, he's off balance, this and that, and yet he still keeps on persevering. I mean, really, how many average people out there do you think they're told by most people, hey, you suck, they stop this, and they stop it. Like they stop their journey of whatever it is you want to do. So we gotta give Wilder a little credit. And there was just an article on Boxing Scene earlier this morning that he admitted, like, yeah, I got a lot of flaws. So he's not a delusional guy, but he's just a guy with a strong self-belief. So you gotta respect it.
Well, I respect his mentality.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, he's not. I mean, he has a lot of power. He has that physical advantage. He's extremely tall.
Mm-hmm.
He's probably the tallest heavyweight. He's probably the tallest heavyweight champion ever.
No, Nikola Valuev, I think it was.
Oh yes.
You forgot? How do you forget Valuev? Once you take a look at Valuev's face and his hairy chest and all that, like, you can't forget that, man.
I think he's better than Valuev. He's faster.
Oh yeah, he's definitely faster.
Yeah, he has more snap and everything. But yeah, I give credit to Wilder. I mean, he's dangerous in every fight because of his power.
Mm-hmm.
But I think, when people tell me that I can't criticize Wilder for some reason,
yeah, that makes no sense.
Or that I should be criticizing Golovkin because he also has power, and somehow because Wilder and Golovkin have power, they're on the same boat. It's like, I'm sorry, but Golovkin has way more skills than Wilder.
Yeah, that's undeniable.
When you see, if you ever see Golovkin do a windmill, then I'll change my mind and I'll say I'm wrong here.
It's interesting since we started this channel, Bucho, when we've done the film analysis of where we, you know, because we really do try to be as unbiased as possible. And again, nobody can be unbiased. It's almost impossible. You do have your biases, but we try to cover each person's strengths and weaknesses, each fighter. And every time we point out the strengths of one fighter, the fans of their opponent come in and they tell us that we're wrong. And then when we point out the weakness of one guy, his fans come in defending. I mean, you can't win with some people. Some people refuse to see the weaknesses, and that type of mentality really holds you back in life, because if you refuse to see that you have weaknesses or flaws, you're never going to be able to improve. Look at Wilder. He admits he's got flaws. He's not insane. Some people thought he was insane, and he really does think that he really did think that he was the best and that he had no flaws. He's got flaws. And that's the other thing about Wilder. I was watching a video of he's hitting the heavy back, not the heavy back, the mace back, you know, the uppercut back. And man, after every punch, he looks a little off balance. I've never seen.
He's always off balance, man. After
like
every
that.
punch, he's off balance, man.
It's insane. But again, that power, and like we showed in the film analysis, he does a lot of the good things that end up working for him.
He can get away with these mistakes because
right now,
it's a heavyweight division. Right now, exactly because of the opponents he's been facing, and because it's a heavyweight division. He's big. Boxers are slower. On top of that, he's very tall, lanky, long arms, rangy. Yeah, so he can get away with being off balance and, you know, looking like a clown.
Well, I will say this about Wilder is he makes it work for him, and we said so far it's been working for him. And I don't think this is the main point here. I don't think Ortiz is going to be the guy that's going to exploit his mistakes or that's going to expose him. You know what I mean? I mean, for expose him in the sense that he's going to hand him a loss, because we all already know Wilder's flaws. But again, he makes it work for him, and against Ortiz, I think he's going to continue to make it work. Now let's talk a little bit about the financial aspect of this fight, because there's been memes going around. Haymanites tweeted about it too. There was another guy on YouTube who made, I forget his name, I should really have remembered the name to give him a shout out, but they're making videos about how the fight isn't selling so well. There's still a lot of seats available. Now part of that has to do maybe because Kovalev is fighting in the same city, I mean same near the same location, yeah. Brooklyn, Manhattan, whatever, you know, that fights are taking place in near the similar locations, so that might be cutting into the ticket sales. But at the same time, you would expect, the reason why we're bringing this up is because Wilder says he wants to get paid more or about the same as Joshua, and he would prefer the fight to take place in the United States. Based off of what? Now we're saying this is his biggest fight against his best opponent, Cuban. You know, there's Cubans in New York. It's not even filling that up that much, so what does that say about Wilder's chances?
Yeah, that looks bad on Wilder, especially after all the talking he's been doing. I mean, this guy was asking $7 million to fight Dillian White. So $7 million to fight Dillian White. Now he's fighting Luis Ortiz in his home country, and he's not even selling out. So this looks really bad on Wilder.
Well, it just brings up the point again.
And by the way, sorry, I don't think Kovalev. Is the fact that Kovalev is fighting on the same night is it's cutting into because Kovalev, who is he fighting anyways? And seriously, a Russian is actually cutting into your.
But I wasn't saying that. But I'm saying some people are gonna
say that. But I doubt it. I don't think.
Well, here's the other thing. I don't think it's Wilder's fault. He's not the promoter. The promoters are at fault here, because here they have a guy who's vociferous. He loves to talk. He's got punching power. He's undefeated. He's young. He should be a star.
Yeah, he could. He's poorly managed, promoted, I should say. That's for sure. And he could be way bigger. I'm telling you, if he would have stayed with Golden Boy, maybe he would have been a star on HBO, man.
Could have been, man. You never know. It's a big what if now. He's got the hope again, the Anthony Joshua ticket. I'm pretty sure he's praying that Joseph Parker doesn't upset the apple cart and ends up killing the golden goose, because Wilder needs that fight. He doesn't get that big British make. Listen, if he gets that win over Joshua, let's say he wins. Yeah, let's say Wilder beats Joshua. Okay. He becomes a star here in the United States. So he needs that fight more than ever. Yeah. He can't lose this one, and he can't allow Joseph Parker to beat.
That's what I was thinking, because you're saying Wilder can't lose this fight, obviously.
Yeah,
because there's but because there's this big payday with Joshua. what if Wilder comes into this fight very cautious?
Well, I think
Like
he's
extremely
gonna be
cautious.
Yeah.
Yeah, we already know he's gonna come in cautious because Ortiz is it's a dangerous opponent. Even though I think he's very slow now.
And you think he's 45?
Yeah, I think he's 45. But Wilder, he might be even more cautious than ever, man. Who knows,
Yeah.
man? Maybe in the back of his head, he's like, I cannot lose this fight. All the work I've been doing so far is gonna go down the drain.
The great thing about Wilder, though, is that he can end it as soon as he wants. Like, if he lands a good punch in the first round, it's over. No finding out whether his flaws would have been exposed. No finding out whether he would have had to go to war against Ortiz. None of that. One punch, boom, it's over. So I wouldn't be surprised if he catches Ortiz early. Then again, I wouldn't be surprised if Ortiz catches him early either. But listen, I'm sticking to my prediction. I'm not changing my mind. I'm going with Wilder. I think he beats Ortiz. I don't think it's gonna look all that great. People are gonna be dissatisfied at the end, as always. But I think it's going to be Wilder. That's my prediction.
I think Precise mentioned this, or I think it was Precise or Cameron, maybe. Like, what if Wilder just goes 12 rounds, cruise it? Like, he cruises the fight, he goes 12 rounds, moves around, jab, and then he knows that he's gonna get the benefit of the doubt. He's a champion, he's a PBC fighter. So what if he does that? He knows, you know what, he tries to survive 12 rounds, I get the decision. Maybe he's gonna go for it.
Maybe it's like when Hopkins fought on the undercard of the Loya Sturm. It was an infomercial. They just had to win their fights and it's set up. And so he fought one of his most cautious and I would dare say boring fights. And that's saying something because at that point Hopkins was really mailing in some performances. And he admitted it. He said, "Oh, I didn't want to screw up the payday." So he just did the bare minimum to win. One shot clinch, moving one shot, like 5 shots at a time. Maybe Wilder does it.
I can see that, man. I can see Wilder just throwing a jab that jittery. He's all jittery, trying that little jab, and then boom, grab. And then wait for the ref to come in, separate them, and then waste time, and then go the full 12 rounds.
That would be a shame because I'm hoping for some sort of fireworks, regardless of who wins, who loses. I'm expecting at least a knockout. That the knockout is like the whiteout. That you could have had a bad phrase or something. Just put a little whiteout, erases everything. That's the same thing with a knockout. Doesn't matter what happened the previous 5, 8, 11 rounds, as long as there's a knockout. That's what people remember the most. So we're hoping for that. Also, we got Kovalev fighting on Saturday, so there is that little maybe consolation prize if Wilder or Ortiz ends up being a bore fest. Well, at least maybe Kovalev gets a knockout, and of course we have Bivol versus Barrera. We're going to talk about that on Saturday's podcast before the fights, and we're going to talk more about Wilder Ortiz as well, in case anything happens, any new developments, or just to get people's predictions on the fight. So that was another BDA Boxing transmission.
Make sure you subscribe to BDA Boxing Live, which is our second channel. That's where we have the live debates. So make sure you subscribe, because a lot of people have been telling me that they just recently subscribed to BDA Boxing Live, the other channel, and they go like, since when did you create this channel? Like, I wasn't aware of it. I'm like, yeah, that's a new channel. It's been there for like a few weeks now.
I think you need to tweet that every day, man.
A month,
just
maybe.
Tweet.
Yeah, I'm tweeting it. So yeah, people don't know about this channel. So please go to youtube.com/BDA Boxing Live and subscribe.
And we're also working on a Facebook page to keep you guys entertained, because we don't post videos every day, obviously, but with Facebook we could post little vignettes every day, 2 or 3 vignettes and memes and stuff like that, messages, and keep people entertained and up to date about boxing. So that's another.
So we don't overflow YouTube with little videos.
Yeah, exactly. So again, that was another. Tell us what we got right. Tell us what we got wrong. Tell us your prediction. I've been reading people's predictions. I love it when people make predictions and they really step it up and they put it up out there. You know what I mean? So give us your predictions. Don't be scared. Nobody. You lose, you win. It's not a competition here. So don't forget to like and subscribe. Subscribe to our sister channel. Subscribe to this main channel. There is a film analysis we did. Anthony Joshua film analysis that's on BDA Live exclusively. So just go on over there, subscribe, and enjoy that film analysis. And that's it for Mr. BDA and King Bucho. Thank you for joining us. Thank you for listening. We'll see you in the next one, folks. Take care.